January 2008. Rahul, a 32-year-old IT professional from Bangalore, received an unexpected inheritance of 50 lakh rupees. His father's life savings, now sitting in his bank account, waiting to be invested. His financial advisor said, "Put it all in equity mutual funds right now. Markets are booming." The Sensex had just crossed 20,000 for the first time in history. India was unstoppable. Rahul hesitated. Something didn't feel right. Instead, he decided to invest through monthly SIPs over the next 2 years. 12 months later, the global financial crisis had wiped out 60% of the market. Rahul's decision to not invest everything at once had saved him nearly 30 lakh rupees. But here's where the story gets interesting. His colleague Priya, who invested her bonus of 10 lakhs as lump sum in March 2009, right at the bottom of the crash, turned it into 42 lakhs by 2014. Same market. Same funds. Completely opposite strategies. Both made money. So who was right? This is the question that haunts every Indian investor. SIP or lump sum? Which one actually makes you more money? Today, we are not going to give you opinions. We are going to show you real data from the two biggest market crashes of our generation. The 2008 global financial crisis and the 2020 COVID crash. We'll break down the exact mathematics of rupee cost averaging, expose why market timing is a dangerous myth, and reveal what actually determines your wealth in the long run. By the end of this video, you'll never look at your investments the same way again. Before we dive into the data, let's understand what rupee cost averaging actually means. And I promise, this is simpler than your mutual fund advisor made it sound. Imagine you decide to invest 10,000 rupees every month in a mutual fund. In month 1, the NAV is 100 rupees. You get 100 units. In month 2, markets crash. NAV drops to 50 rupees. Your same 10,000 now buys you 200 units. In month 3, markets recover slightly. NAV is 80 rupees. You get 125 units. After 3 months, you've invested 30,000 rupees and own 425 units. Now here's the magic. Your average cost per unit isn't the average of the 3 NAVs, which would be 76.6 rupees. It's actually 70.5 rupees. How? Because when prices were low, your fixed amount automatically bought more units. When prices were high, you bought fewer. This is rupee cost averaging. You're not timing the market. The market is timing itself for you. But here's what the mutual fund industry conveniently forgets to mention. Rupee cost averaging only helps you when markets are volatile or falling. In a consistently rising market, you're actually buying fewer and fewer units as prices climb. You're averaging up, not down. This single insight explains why the SIP versus lump sum debate has no universal answer. It completely depends on what the market does after you invest. And that's where our real data analysis begins. Let me share a study that should terrify every investor who thinks they can time the market. Between 1980 and 2020, the Sensex delivered approximately 15% annualized returns. Sounds great, right? But here's the shocking truth. If you missed just the 20 best trading days during those 40 years, your returns would drop to barely 7%. Miss the 40 best days? You'd actually lose money. Now think about this. 40 days out of approximately 10,000 trading days. That's 0.4% of total trading sessions. And missing them cuts your wealth creation by more than half. The problem is, the best days almost always come immediately after the worst days. March 2020, when markets crashed 38%, was followed by some of the biggest single-day rallies in Indian stock market history. If you panicked and sold during the crash, you missed the recovery. If you were waiting on the sidelines for the perfect entry point, you missed it too. This is why the argument for lump sum investing exists. Time in the market beats timing the market. Studies from Fidelity and Vanguard show that investing lump sum immediately outperforms spreading investments over time in approximately 66% of historical periods. The reason is simple. Markets generally go up over time. By waiting to invest through SIP, you're keeping money on the sidelines that could be growing. But this statistic hides an important truth. It's not about which strategy wins more often. It's about which strategy you can actually stick to. And that's where human psychology enters the picture. Let's travel back to October 2007. The Sensex had just touched its all-time high of 20,000. India was experiencing unprecedented economic growth. Real estate prices were soaring. Everyone from your chai wala to your CEO was talking about stocks. Now imagine two investors. Investor A puts 12 lakh rupees as lump sum into a Nifty index fund on January 1, 2008. Investor B decides to spread the same 12 lakhs over 24 monthly SIPs of 50,000 each. What happened next is now history. By October 2008, the market had crashed nearly 60%. Investor A's 12 lakhs was now worth less than 5 lakhs. Investor B had invested only 5 lakhs by then, which was now worth about 2.8 lakhs. But here's where it gets interesting. Investor B kept investing through the carnage. 50,000 in November when everyone was panicking. 50,000 in December when experts predicted further crashes. 50,000 in March 2009, right at the absolute bottom, without even knowing it was the bottom. By December 2009, when Investor B completed all 24 SIPs, let's look at the numbers. Investor A's lump sum had recovered to approximately 10.5 lakhs. Still in loss. Investor B's SIP portfolio was worth approximately 14.2 lakhs. A clear profit of over 2 lakhs. Fast forward to 2014. Investor A finally broke even and moved into profit. Investor B's portfolio had nearly doubled. The SIP investor won decisively. But wait. What if Investor A had invested that lump sum not in January 2008, but in March 2009 at the bottom? That 12 lakhs would have become approximately 48 lakhs by 2014. 4 times the money. March 2020. The world was shutting down. India announced a complete lockdown. The Nifty crashed 38% in just 23 trading sessions. It was the fastest crash in Indian market history. Now let's run our experiment again. Investor A puts 12 lakhs lump sum on January 1, 2020, just before COVID became a global crisis. Investor B starts a 24-month SIP of 50,000. By 23 March 2020, Investor A's portfolio had crashed to approximately 7.4 lakhs. Brutal. But then something unprecedented happened. Fueled by global stimulus and retail investor participation, markets staged the fastest recovery in history. By December 2020, just 9 months later, Investor A's lump sum was not only recovered but had grown to approximately 13.8 lakhs. A profit of nearly 15% in the most chaotic year of our lives. Investor B, meanwhile, had invested 6 lakhs through SIP by December. Portfolio value: approximately 7.2 lakhs. Decent, but far behind the lump sum investor. By December 2021, When Investor B completed all SIPs, the gap had widened further. Investor A's portfolio stood at approximately 18 lakhs. Investor B's portfolio was worth approximately 16 lakhs. The lump sum investor won this time. Why such different results from 2008? Because 2008 was followed by a prolonged bear market and slow recovery. Rupee cost averaging had months to work its magic at lower prices. 2020 was a V-shaped recovery. Markets crashed fast and bounced back faster. There was no time to accumulate units at lower prices. The lump sum money caught the entire rally. Here's something no spreadsheet will ever tell you. The best investment strategy is the one you can actually follow. Let me explain with a story. In March 2020, I spoke to dozens of investors through our community. Every single person who had made a lump sum investment just before the crash was panicking. Some had already sold at losses. Others were losing sleep, refreshing their portfolios every hour, convinced they had made a terrible mistake. Meanwhile, SIP investors were oddly calm. Yes, their portfolios were down. But they had this psychological anchor. At least I'm buying more units at lower prices. At least my next SIP will get me more value. This mental framework, this feeling of doing something productive during a crisis, kept them invested. And staying invested is 80% of the battle. Behavioral finance research consistently shows that individual investors underperform the very funds they invest in. Why? Because they buy high and sell low. They enter after seeing past returns and exit during crashes. A study by Dalbar showed that while the S&P 500 returned about 10% annually over 20 years, the average equity investor earned only 4%. The difference? Bad timing driven by emotions. SIPs solve this problem by taking emotions out of the equation. You don't decide when to invest. The date decides for you. You don't panic during crashes because you're already committed to buying next month. This behavioral benefit might be worth more than any mathematical advantage of lump sum investing. Because a suboptimal strategy you stick to will always beat an optimal strategy you abandon. So what's the answer? SIP or lump sum? After analyzing decades of data, here's the framework that actually works. First, consider your income pattern. If you earn a monthly salary, SIP isn't just a strategy, it's a necessity. You don't have lump sum to invest. Match your investments to your income. Simple. Second, consider the source of funds. If you receive a sudden windfall like a bonus, inheritance, or property sale, research suggests investing 70% immediately and spreading 30% over 6 to 12 months. You capture most of the potential upside while keeping some powder dry for opportunities. Third, consider market valuations. When markets are trading at historically high price-to-earnings ratios, like the Nifty above 25 pay, consider extending your SIP duration. When markets are beaten down below 15 pay, be more aggressive with lump sum deployment. Fourth, and most importantly, consider yourself. If market volatility keeps you awake at night, if you've panic sold in previous crashes, if you check your portfolio more than once a day, then SIP is your answer. The mathematical edge of lump sum means nothing if you can't handle the emotional roller coaster. Here's what the smartest investors do. They don't choose between SIP and lump sum. They use both. Regular SIPs from salary for disciplined wealth building. Tactical lump sum deployment during significant market corrections. Annual lump sum top-ups whenever they have surplus cash. This hybrid approach gives you the behavioral benefits of systematic investing while maintaining flexibility to capitalize on opportunities. The question was never really SIP versus lump sum. It was always about understanding yourself, your money, and your goals. And now you have the data to make that decision wisely. If this video helped you think differently about your investments, subscribe to Mahayukti Finance. We decode complex financial concepts with real data, not opinions. Your wealth building journey deserves nothing less.